Hello everybody. Let's talk about part-time workers. One of the more seminal events that we've seen in our lifetime is really the death, or the decrease certainly, of full-time jobs. Back in the day, in the 1950s and 60s, a full-time job was almost a rite of passage. As soon as you graduated high school at the time, you got to work in many manufacturing businesses that offered you full-time employment, often with retirement and health care. It really was a golden age to live in the United States after the war. And as a result, a solid middle-class income and environment was working well. Sadly, international competition really started in the 70s and 80s when the previously devastated countries of Europe and Asia rebuilt their economies. And when they rebuilt their economies, they had lower costs and no lower standard of living. Those costs were reflected in the products that they produced, and those products were cheaper, in some ways better made. As a result, we started to lose market share, and some of these benefits that we try to allow our employees to have and provide them for the work that they've done have certainly disappeared. In fact, several years ago, in the 1980s, about 80% of employees had some type of a retirement. Now, only about 20% get that retirement from their employer. And often we're seeing more and more those are being paid for by the employee himself. So they may offer retirement, but it's the employees who have to pay for it. So there's really three events as we look back as to why part-time employment has risen so much. And in fact, in the 1960s, late 1960s, about 13% of those in the workplace were working part-timers. Remember, there's quite a few people going to school and college that work part-time. And today it's about 19%. And that's 6 percentage points. May not sound like a lot, but it's actually millions of jobs over the long term. And that could be quite devastating to those who are trying to create a family and to provide some level of security for those that they work with and live with. So there's three aspects that affect this higher part-time rate. One is international competition. We've had a great conversation about this, and basically it means that it's cheaper to produce a product overseas and then to ship that product back. It's cheaper because our costs are higher here, along with the regulations and taxes. Second is the cost of employee benefits. Most are surprised to find out that after World War II, about 5% of employees' costs were as a result of some type of benefit. Today, it's getting close to around 35-36%, which means for every employee that you hire, you have to incur a cost of another 35% or so to provide them the required and also ancillary benefits. Things even like retirement, health care, even sick leave and vacation are all costs that increase the amount of money that we contribute to our employees. Lastly is that we need to have a better balance, and there's been a real effort to balance the organization's need with labor costs. And one of the pitfalls of full-time employment is you have to hire an employee, and even if work slows down, you have to pay that employee their wage. With part-time employees, you can better match demands with the supply of labor you have. And businesses would rather do that. During slow times or slow months, they'd rather lay off an employee than pay them full-time. So those are the three aspects that are affecting the workplace today. There's certainly more, but those are among the three more prominent. International competition, of course, is the most significant aspect. The cost of employee benefits is rising almost out of control. And last but not least, there's a better balance between demand and labor costs when you have part-time employees. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the day.